Hey, welcome to episode 3 of the Defining Life podcast. I'm Nick Boris, president of Define Life and creator of Define My Day. Thank you for joining me. This is kind of exciting. In fact, I am just a little bit nervous, and I think it's because one, it's going to be a little bit more instructional, so I'm going to be hopping up and writing on a notepad and kind of walking through the process with everyone. But also, I'm going to, in a moment, so I'm going to introduce the podcast after we let everybody hop on here. This is actually going to be recorded, and we're going to put it out there on a new platform that I am not used to. And what we're going to do here is... we are going to, I lost the train of thought because I saw somebody's comment. I want to respond to it. So we're gonna every week upload a pre-recorded podcast video on YouTube, and then the audio is going to go onto all the major podcast platforms. And then on Thursdays at 3:00, I'm going to maintain this podcast or this time to do these live videos so that we have the opportunity to interact. You guys can ask questions, and we'll work on one specific point of Define My Day and anything that you guys want to talk about. So I appreciate you being here. I know today we have a big giveaway in celebration of doing this. And, we're going to be giving away 1 year of Define My Day. We're going to give away 13 planners of any color you want to one person that comments or asks a question in the live feed here. And then we will hopefully get somebody rolling for the next year. It's like 149 and change value. So I hope you're excited, because I am. I want to kick this off right. So we're going to get started here in a minute. Let's go through real quick while we're waiting for everybody else to get on here. We have 25 people on already. That's awesome. Hi, Linda. Oh, yeah, you lost your link. I hope you're on now. I hope you found your way back in here. Belinda, happy Thursday. Kathy, looking forward to your insights. Thank you. I appreciate you always, Kathy. Jackie, thank you so much for starting these live posts. This is going to be so helpful. I just recently started a new health and wellness challenge. Awesome. This is my 5th one now in 3rd year. I'm really looking forward to implementing this into it. I feel like the system is going to help me stay on track and make forward progress. Absolutely, it will. Do you have any tips or tricks for transitioning from one journal to the next? Do you just keep the flow going or make adjustments? I'm going to get back to you. So I'm going to come back to that question. I am going to, Jackie. Okay, I'm going to come back to you on that one. Here on the West Coast, awesome. Carol, good to see you. Paulette, good afternoon. Believe I can do this. I believe I can. I just don't believe I can't screw it up too. Janice, can't wait. Awesome. Wendy, happy Thursday. Anna, glad I'm doing it this way. When it hits YouTube, you can encourage my daughter to see it. Awesome. Hi from snowy Michigan. Looking forward to your podcast. Love your live videos. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Lisa. I need a plan to work on my planner. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Carla, hi. Glad you could join. I'm glad you could join also. Christy, working in a library. Oh, it just moved on me. In front of the windows with a view of the highway. Awesome. Check out Rachel Hollis and her Start Today morning show for inspiration. I use DMD, but we'll use some elements from her as well. Yeah, Paulette, you bring up a good point. I'm going to come back to that because I like talking about other people that are good. So exciting. Looks like a giveaway has sparked a lot of interest. Yeah, right? 28 people in here so far. Looking forward to it, Yvonne. Thank you. Kathy, hi. Thank you very much. Trisha, looking forward to the tips. Week 1, week 2, with the days listed on it. It's the left side of the book. Oh, so the left side. Yeah, we'll get there. All right. And Jennifer, awesome, thank you. Kimberly, hi from Kentucky. Don't know where to start. We'll talk about that. Pamela, easy to get overwhelmed. Always use some additional insight. I'm hoping I can help you with that. All right, awesome, everybody. Hi from Kansas. Looking forward to it. Awesome. Let's get started here. We got 30 people. That's awesome. That's the most we've ever had for one of these things. So I am really excited and psyched about that. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the podcast for the listening audience, for the people watching the videos on YouTube and here. I know we've already been doing this, but hey, let's just get going. Hi, I'm Nick Boris, and you are listening to the Defining Life podcast. This is episode 3. This is where the heck do I start, right? So we have so much crap to do, we don't know where to begin. So we are going to talk about that in today's podcast, and I'm going to talk about a couple of other things also. A lot of times, not knowing where to start can be a lack of direction, or not properly prioritizing all of the things we have to do. So we're going to talk about all those subjects and a couple of other things that we might have going on right now. It is right now, as I'm recording this, January 23rd, and we're kind of hitting that like January blues kind of period, right? I've seen some comments in the private user group for Define My Day. And I can see it in the gym already because the gym's already starting to clear out. So we're starting to get to that point where, we're slowing down a little bit right now, right? Like, so, we've already put in the effort, probably more effort than we're normally putting into, especially coming after a holiday when not only did we maybe not have everything locked down, but heading into the holidays, we really backed off the gas. If you're anything like me, there are a couple of areas of my life that I did not give enough attention. And so then we try to do a 180 and, step on the gas and the turbochargers and afterburners and everything. And we charge into January, full force, and we start to wear ourselves out a little bit, right? So it's a big reason why we focus on small steps with Define My Day. But with these January blues hitting us, it's important to remember that this is where the growth happens. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're using Define My Day or even another product to, journal and plan your day, or if you're exercising or trying to maintain a diet, now is not the time to quit or even adjust. Now is the time to persevere and try to grow that muscle, that grit muscle to keep on going. Now is when the growth happens, right? In the exercise, the fitness world, when you start to get tired, when you push through for that extra couple of seconds or the extra couple of reps, is when the cardio advantages start happening, or when the muscle growth starts happening. So, and even when the mental growth starts happening, when you learn to keep pushing through, keep pushing forward, not to the point of exhaustion, but when you keep pushing yourself just a little bit more, you're growing that ability, that habit to continue to do it going down the path. We don't want to get into the habit of quitting. That's one of the worst habits we could possibly have. So I want you to look at these next couple of weeks as a fresh challenge to do whatever has been on your resolution list, has been on your goals list, whatever you're thinking right now about going, I don't know if I want to do this, keep going. You started it for a reason. Let's keep going. Once we get through this period, then we can maybe ask ourselves if it's time to adjust, right? Now look, if you're exhausted, if you can't handle anymore, we need to selectively pick where we're going to go and what we're going to invest our time and energy in. That's what today is all about. So please, evaluate it properly, but be aware of when you're giving up on yourself. We don't want to do that, right? We don't want to build that habit. We want to be strong and we want to grow even more. And so, in this session, we'll talk about how you evaluate what's actually really important. A lot of times, so one of the things I find myself saying, and I find myself being just a little bit, I don't know if it's hypocritical or what it is. Maybe somebody can explain it to me. So with all of this, like all the support and all of the discussions we have about this topic, I am still the person that when I go to the gym wants to be in like an open space with nobody around me. And so now when it's crowded, like I have to weave in and out and find my times when it's most empty or least full. And I even check on Google to see like where it is right now, right? Or more busy than usual, whatever it says on Google. And so I'm like, it's weird because I feel like such a hypocrite because I'm like driving there and I'm going, I hope it's empty, I hope it's empty, and I'm thinking to myself, dude, your job is to encourage people to do better, and here you are hoping that nobody's there. So it's this weird place where I have like this like dual personality thing going on. I'm being selfish in one regard, but in the other regard, it's like, in the end, in some way we're looking out for ourselves, right? Looking out for number one. So that's just I don't know. I have to stop myself and try to be mindful of that every single time. But here we are. What I did, so one of the reasons why I think a lot of people have a hard time with this, we when we put our energy in too many places, a lot of times it's because maybe we're doing things for the wrong reasons. Maybe we're doing things that aren't really authentic to us. But one of the key themes that we talk about and that really anybody in this space talks about is defining your purpose. And so, the whole purpose, like having that purpose and discovering it. For me, it took me years to figure it out, and I've talked about it in the user group in the daily sessions. For me, all through the time I had my IT company, I wanted to help people fix computers. I liked seeing people happy that I resolved their problem. Right? I liked that. It made me feel valuable. But I didn't maybe quite like the actual technical work, right? And so what I found is that my purpose was to help people. The computer work was the easiest way to do it. Now I'm adjusting and pivoting, obviously, in the direction of defined life, where we're helping people focus on what really matters in their lives and reach the goals that are really authentic to them and that inspire them to move forward. So, my purpose has not changed. Even Simon Sinek would say, like, your purpose is pretty much developed by the time you're a late teenager. You might not be aware of what it is, but it doesn't really change. I don't know if it doesn't really change, but I do know that I didn't figure mine out until my late 30s, early 40s. And, now I'm doing something much more authentic, and I feel much more motivated, and I'm much more willing to put up with BS that happens along the way. It's finding that purpose that for you that drives you and pushes you through all the garbage that you have to put up with each and every day. So one of the people that I pay attention to, that I respect, and I've even taken some of his online courses and stuff as I've gone through my own progress, is Brendan Burchard. And I happened to be sitting this morning, and I was about to read my book, but I checked my phone real quick, as we sometimes do. And I opened it up to Instagram, and he had a 20-minute discussion about finding your purpose. Now, I'm not going to go through 20 minutes of this, but if you want more in depth with it, I recommend you go to his Instagram. I think it was about 24 hours ago that he posted this, and he goes through how to explore your purpose and how to find your purpose. Step one for him is realign with the truth of who you are. So really trying to explore, your identity and trying to figure out what your motivations are for doing things. A lot of times those motivations, especially if you have really bad habits or you've grown up with bad relationships, those motivations can be sort of toxic. It could be for approval. It could be for, for people to revere you. It could be, just to feel valued or accepted. So you want to try to unpack that. And, as we go through the Define My Day process, we write down our priorities and we talk about how we felt about accomplishing them the next day, or we write down why we didn't accomplish them. And we can explore that too, right? Either I wasn't motivated, I really didn't, maybe it wasn't really a priority, whatever that might be for you, but we can explore it and then try to unpack what that really is. And the more you take like that time, I don't want you to get swallowed up by it, but the more you can understand why you feel the way you feel about a certain situation, even if it's being a jerk, there's times when I've been a jerk and I really had to figure out why am I reacting this way? It's habits and reactions and things that are built up. And, so, with this, becoming finding the truth in who I am has been a significant part of this whole journey. And the more I get to know it, the more motivated I am to do what I'm doing. Number 2 for Brendan Burchard is the role model mindset. And this is huge. This is huge. There was a couple of years ago when my wife was a Beachbody coach. She signed me up to be one, and we were doing things together, trying to encourage each other. And I even went into becoming a live instructor. And I was getting in shape, and I always felt like, I have to be the most in shape guy in the room to step in front of a class and actually lead a class. Somebody in the room can't be following me because it just wouldn't be authentic to me. It wouldn't feel right. And so it actually pushed me to get in better shape. It pushed me to, get in the best shape of my life. And it's funny because when we started this company and backed off of the whole Beachbody experience, is when I didn't feel like I needed to be a fitness role model anymore. And I just, everything, all of that part of my life kind of went out of control for a little while. And I'm dialing it back in the past 6 or 9 months. But, it's been a journey. And I would say that even like this now, being in the user group, working with people with Define My Day, it's really encouraging. It inspires me to continue growing myself because I feel like I need to be a role model. If I'm going to speak to anybody about any of the topics that I talk about, I need to be doing that in my life. And I know more, you don't experience this any more than when you deal with children. I mean, whether they're your own or as a teacher or any other role, when you're trying to, you don't want to be, I don't want to be a do as I say, not as I do kind of person. I want to be like hey, here's my example, follow me, right? That's how I can lead because I can't do it another way. I can't be the person that, says this is the right way to do it. But I don't do that for myself, right? So number 2, have the role model mindset. And then number 3, create meaningful moments. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, right? We talked about the future you, which is the whole realign with the truth of who you are, but then, find a purpose and move, go to that future you and work with people that take you forward. But you can't go too far forward or you're always going to be striving and burning yourself out. You also need to take the time to be present in the big moments, right? Even the small moments, like little moments with my kids are amazing. I took my 2 boys last night to Fresh Time, which is like a kind of a combination of Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, right? And they have little kitty carts. And so my 9-year-old and my 6-year-old are driving these little kitty carts around and they want me to put things in their cart. And it's getting late. They need to get home and get to bed. So I am not mindful. I am just on a mission trying to get groceries. And we get back in the car and my oldest says, this was the best shopping trip ever. Because they hate when I take them shopping. He said, this is the best shopping trip ever. I love that. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my, this whole moment just went by and I completely missed it because I was on a mission to get things done, to get groceries and get back to the house and get them in bed. And, that's a moment for me to say, okay, next time, maybe I can be there. And it doesn't have to cost me time. It's just a little bit, right? Just that little moment to watch them for a second and just appreciate what they're enjoying. And we can, that happens, when we're at dinner with our spouses and we're on our phone rather than being fully engaged. Whatever we might be doing, even just having a regular conversation, being engaged in that conversation, any situation, you got to appreciate those moments and make them as big as they should be and give them that kind of value and attention. So, for him, he says, feel the day, which I think is a great way to put it. You want to feel what's going on around you. Just absorb it, a little bit more than last time or when you may not have felt good about it. And it's just about growing the awareness, right? Absolutely about growing the awareness. All right, so I'm going to head back and take a break before I get over to the board and show you guys what we did in our business. And I'm going to walk you through doing this yourself. So do me a favor. As you're listening to me here, I want you to type in one of the many things that you have to do this week. And we're gonna walk through an example of how we work through all of this stuff. So go ahead and start typing in one thing that you have to do. It could be anything from doing laundry to whatever you got to do for work, for a promotion, whatever, like a big project. Go small to big, just throw it all on the board. I'm going to go back and watch the comments real quick just to see what we have going on. Matthew, hey in Wyoming, how you doing, man? Hi from West Virginia, Monica. Needed this today. I never kept up with a planner. Hope this helps motivate me. Pat, I'm going to hit you right here with one. Motivation is fleeting. I use motivation all the time, and I hope I can motivate you, but it is fleeting. And, that's the point of our small steps technique, just that those small stepping stones every day, because we want to have that inner desire. We want to get that inner momentum so that we create our own, so that when motivation disappears, when we hit those headwinds and we don't want to go forward because we have no motivation and something's pushing back, we want to continue forward. So, I've hacked it a little bit for myself. Like I follow guys like Eric Thomas, who's the crazy motivational speaker, right? And when I'm feeling not motivated or like I just don't want to do stuff, I'll push through. But in my spare time, like when I'm just doing stuff like doing the dishes, I'll put on my headphones. They're back there somewhere. I'll put on my headphones and I will listen to the most motivational thing I can find. And like within a half an hour, I'm like pumped up and I can get going again. But yeah, I mean, like motivation, we've talked about this a lot in the user group. You want to get in the habit of pushing through without motivation. Even in the small things, you start really small steps, get that momentum going. And when you prove to yourself that you can move forward, like you build up that book of work, that body of work, and you motivate yourself. You motivate from the inside. Motivation is just like a breeze on the ocean or a current in the ocean. It's if you always wait for motivation, you're going to be buffeted in any direction the winds take you. And we don't want that to happen. We want to make sure we're defining the direction that we go. It's all of what we are about here. So, I know, I feel you. I absolutely feel you. But make sure that you do what you need to do, even without motivated. Get in that habit, and you will be a superstar. I promise you. Hey, from Atlanta, Dana, what's up? Looking for more tips. I got them for you. Lori, hi, Nick from New Jersey on week 3, and glad I caught your live. I'm glad you caught it too. Linda in Central Illinois, hey, first time watching. Gene, Tracy, where to start is much needed. Absolutely. Yvonne, always struggle on how to prioritize and break it all down. Tend to be all over the place. Whoo, Yvonne, we are going to talk about something today. Lisa, me too. Wendy, I feel similarly. I think creating a habit is the most important thing. Yes, we got it. We want to try to, habits help us stay as efficient as possible. The better, more habits you can build, the better. You hate it when it's crowded? I know, I hate it when it's crowded. Hate it. And then people get into your space. I had a guy the other day, I was on the Smith machine, and this guy just started doing push-ups right under where you have to put on the weights. And he's just doing push-ups and banging them out. I'm like, God. I stood there. I walked around for a little bit, and then I came back, and I'm just looking at him like he wouldn't quit doing push-ups. It was impressive, but there was a lot of room other places. Like, dude, give me my space. I got to take my weights off. What do you do when you feel you have not accomplished what you need to get done? I feel I've been on the same thing for weeks, or am I trying to squeeze 48 hours into 10? Maybe. Maybe it's not really a priority. What I've found is a lot of things that ended up on my to-do list through filtering my priorities and to-dos is that my to-do list, I can look at my to-do list from 2 years ago and I still haven't done things because they were just not a priority. And I asked myself, if I never do this, is the world going to end? And if the answer is no, maybe we just never do it. Christy, I do not do well with crowded gyms or crowded gym classes. I hear you. What happened? No video. I don't know. Does everybody else have the video? I'm having the same issue. It's called being real. Is that what it is? Yeah. Same here. Not hypocritical. You want people to work out, just not where you are. Need space in order to get into the zone. Absolutely. All right, Karen, you got it now. Good. Dana, the fact that you still go speaks to growing those mental muscles. Yeah, I know. I try to be aware of it every single time. And a lot of times it's about taking a step, right? I'll be coming from like an appointment knowing that I have to go to the gym before I go home. And like each right turn towards the gym is like another win for me. Where I go, okay, if I turn right here, I'm making the right decision. If I turn left here, I'm making the right decision. And like each step of the way, I'm like just playing a game like, okay, you did it. Next step, make another right. Christy loved helping but burnt out. Met Simon Sinek last year when we hired him for a keynote. Wow. Brendan Broussard has been impactful for me. High Performance Habits. Yep, good book. Our purpose changes as the stages of our lives change. Yeah, it's funny because Simon Sinek thinks it doesn't, but I tend to agree with you. I think, depending on the stage, your purpose, although if you go deep enough, he says it doesn't change. I don't know. I'm not an expert to that degree. Deborah, what's going on? Maureen, hoping my purpose reveals itself through the process of focusing on smaller priorities and gaining more insight into what is important to me. The first week I used the priorities as the only things I had to get finished at work, then realized my priorities need to be health, relationships, career, not the revolving to-do list for work. Boom! That's it, right there, right? Yeah, I even did it. My priorities were all work things because I wanted to grow my business. And then I realized I was neglecting the things in my life. So yeah, work appears on my list, and sometimes it's the only priority. But there are other times when like the work stuff, it just needs to get scheduled. But the priorities, the things that I always want to come back to, the big things, have nothing to do with work. It happens. It depends on what season you're in. And that season might be a day long, it might be a week long, it might be a month. But we can adjust and go between things all of the time. Balance isn't like perfect balance every day. Balance is like going between where we need to be, but as long as we're on the right direction, when we bring it back to where we're comfortable, we're in good shape. Deborah, having a hard time just starting. Start small. The way I explain to people to start define my day is even if you don't want to go through the front process of defining your ideal day, your goals, and all that stuff, start with day one and just write. Make your goal to write every day. Fill in the blanks and go do the journaling at the end of the day. Give yourself one small win as a priority and start building up that momentum. It's like a train leaving the station, right? It moves really slowly at first. Maybe the wheels even spin a little bit, but then once it gets moving, you get a little bit of momentum behind you, and you will be moving further along and faster than you can imagine. But you got to get in that habit of moving forward. Paulette, you can get Brendan's book for only $7 shipping and handling. I know he does that thing where you get it for free, but he sends it to you for free, but you got to pay that shipping. Yeah, in the Audible book, actually, he narrates it himself. The Audible book is really good. Carla, thanks for this. I sometimes feel so overwhelmed with perfection. Yep, I know, me too. So that's a whole other thing. Let's talk about that some other time. I'm going to bring that up in a future episode. I wonder sometimes if this type of philosophy or program is for people that either work for themselves or are consultants. How do you flange working for a company where there may not be so many opportunities to self-direct, attain your career goals? That depends. Like, you have to find what's important to you. And if you really, if you can, it's funny, I was just thinking about this today. If you can have a career that's not your priority, and all you do is go in, do your work, do a good job, check out, and go home. And then all of the other time around is opportunity to approach your priorities that lead you to your purpose, right? I mean, look, if you're close to retirement, or if you really don't feel you have a job opportunity, make the time around that 8 or 9 or 10 hours, make that time your time to grow. Make that time to find what you really enjoy in life. And a lot of times, it has a positive impact on work, and you might actually find a new opportunity for work or inside your company. It's definitely like, there's people that I know have no opportunity to change anything at work. And that's even more important for you to focus on the time outside of work and make sure you're not wasting it. You're welcome, Karen. Being present creates closeness and can help reduce anxiety. Yes. It's about helping you fit your personal goals with your work life. I have the same struggle. My work is all consuming. Just write something every day to make it a habit, and you will improve over time. What's the name the man you were just quoting? Pat, that was Brendan Burchard. You can find him on Instagram. I think it's just at Brendan Burchard. But Google him, High Performance Habits. He's written some good books. A lot of good books, actually. Motivation Manifesto, all that stuff. Payroll. All right, payroll. We're getting into what people are doing here. Dinner. Hire a bookkeeper. Stores. Visit stores. Clean office. I don't work. How will this planner work for me? I think, I kind of already explained that. Really, if you don't work, it's actually less of a sense of direction, right? Because if you don't work, you don't have to be any place at a certain point in time other than maybe your home responsibilities. I actually find, especially for retirees, you kind of lose that sense of direction, and you almost become, the decline starts speeding up. So we have a lot of retirees using Define My Day to maintain their sense of purpose and presence and enjoy the time that they have left while they're in retirement. Build an online course. You and me both, man. Laundry. That's on my list too. Dial 100 prospects for my business. Woo! That one right there, man. I do not envy you. Painting project. Good start of my policies and procedures for my nonprofit. Financial statements. Jeez. And live, love, matter. That's it, man. Or Denise, not man. Sorry. Drive from LA to San Fran. Sort laundry. Daunting. Yeah, I know. Update my professional personal goals. Let's see. Goals. All right. So you guys are going to have to, I'm going to go through this here. All right. I'm going to get up and show you how we did this. So I'm going to show you what we did. Now I'm going to show you our business example, and then I'm going to show you how you can do it from a personal standpoint, okay? So we'll go through it twice. All right, so let me get us over to the board. All right. All right, so if everybody can hear me okay, we'll get rolling on this. So this is actually, aside from some super top secret stuff that we have going on, this is actually us spitballing in a team meeting 2 weeks ago here at Define Life. So what we did was we put this board in the corner of the room, and everybody just started yelling out what we have to do. No matter how big or small, we just wanted to write it down, right, and get it on the board. So we have things that we have as goals, but that didn't even matter. We just wanted to make sure everything was on here, and then we're going to re-rate it. And we're going to look at it from a standpoint of importance and from a standpoint of how timely we need to be with it. Does it need to be done now, or can it wait until later? So there's a lot of things on here that are incredibly important to me, but won't really happen, and you're going to see. So we did, we have to resolve inventory because it got skewed over the holiday weekend or holiday season. So inventory was on top of mind for everybody. We wrote we got to find a book supplier, a new book vendor. We want to explore new products. We want to hire somebody for fulfillment. We want a new office. We have to finish our finances, our P&L for the year. We want to schedule our weekly meetings. We want to sales and promo schedule for the year with how different holidays are coming up. We want to investigate international shipping. We want to hire a new person for the help desk. We want to install new phones. We need to blog more. We need to do more videos. We need to do more emails. We need courses. We need workshops. We need to talk to small businesses. We want to do CEO consulting. We want to look at other expansion opportunities. We want different versions of the book: Kids, Pro, Basic, Coach's version. We have others too. We want to do an app, right? Instead of the book, you download an app. We want maybe to investigate cover varieties. We want to talk maybe about, define my company. We want to finish our mission statement or revise our mission statement. 2020, I can't even tell you what that means. We want to hire a web developer, fix our bundling app. We got to do different kinds of ads, that are usually fall on me to do right now. We have promotional videos we want to do, and we have to do new product photos and photos of the staff. That is just one page. We actually have more, right? But this is the stuff that came up in the first 15 minutes. So we put it all out there. And we first clearly identified the things that don't need to happen right now or just can't. So the first thing we decided to do was the app, right? We took the app and we said, you know what, we're going to punt that until 2021. Let's just because we're not going to have time to do it. The time it's going to take for me to manage a project or to have somebody else even here, we don't have enough people here, to manage a product with a vendor to make sure the app is up to our quality, it would just be too much. So we're gonna punt that one until later. Book supplier, we have enough books on hand right now for at least a couple of months. We'll need a couple of months lead time to give them to ramp up and start production. But so, we figure we really need to address this beginning in April. We'll have a few months of books left from the supplier we have now, and we need to start really getting into that. So we know we don't have to look at that again now until April 1st. We'll have a pop-up that pops up on our computers or whatever and says April 1st, here we got to go. Inventories now, new products. We're always looking at new products. What we just had to do with this one was assign it to somebody that has the free time to do it. Fulfillment hire, we need somebody now. If we hire somebody now, that opens up more time for my wife to do things like finish her kids' version of our book, right? So those connect. We're looking for a new office, so we have space for people to work. We're doing our finances now. Absolutely necessary. That is not only important, it's also something urgent because we want to get all our finances in order before tax season gets too crazy. Weekly meetings, we want to do that because we know how important it is to do it now. Sales and promo schedule, we want to have that planned out now so we can schedule going forward. International shipping, important, not super important. We decided to punt it until March and decide then if we're going to punt it again. Phones, we're going to wait until after this month slows down. And you go all the way down the list. What we also found here, like as we're looking at all the list of things that we need to do, we got this feeling that I have my hands in all of this, right? I am involved in inventory. I'm involved in the book supplier discussion. I'm involved in cover varieties. It's like my goal for the end of last year and into this year was to pull myself away from the weeds and get into providing more value for the people that are following us, right? And so we highlighted the area that I need to be spending my time right now. If our company is going to grow, if we're going to be able to get our message out there even more than we have been, I need to focus all of my time right here. Blogging, doing new videos, doing valuable emails, sending valuable emails to our customers and prospects, and coming up with courses. I know somebody here talked about doing an online course, right? Yep, right there for me. So all of this stuff, of all of this, I need to keep my hands out of it and delegate it to somebody else and focus on these things right here. And if I can do that, we're going to have a great 2020. So that's how we went about it for our business. So let's talk about, as an individual, especially somebody that has a lot of work to do for themselves, right? Like personal work. Let's talk about that. All right. So I'm going to try to quickly jot this down. I'm writing it twice because I can't see what you guys are actually saying while I'm standing up here. So we have payroll, right? We have dinner. We have hire. I can't even read my own writing. Bookkeeper, I think, right? Hire a bookkeeper. We have visit stores. Now, is visit stores like you're shopping, or visit stores? I'm going to assume visit stores means you manage stores and you have to visit them. So we're going to take it that way. We have clean office. We have online course. We have laundry. We have 100 calls. We have painting. We have financial. I can't even remember. How about drive to LA? SFOLA. And 2020. All right. So let's kind of evaluate this. And I'm going to make some assumptions as we go through this. And as we're going through this, just let me freewheel it. If I'm not taking your example exactly how you intended, that's okay. So let's just say these are all the things that I have to do in my life, right? So we have some things that clearly stick out to me. So number one, 2020 goals. That's a big priority, right? It's already 2020. We need to get those goals done. So how do we figure out what our goals are? We have to figure out what's important to us. We have to go through the whole purpose, the whole purpose steps that we just talked about from Brendan Burchard, or however you feel to find like what's important to you. For me, I want to ask myself the question: what are my values? Like, what are the values that are most important to me? And what's my purpose in life? What do I feel is most important, right? Like purpose and values can be two different things. So for me, my purpose is to, get, like, I feel that it's just wrong for people to waste their life, right? I don't want anybody to reach that point in their life where they feel like they regret investing their time, love, and energy where they did, and they can't do it over because it's too late. That, to me, like, my purpose is to help anybody from getting to that position in their life. My values, for me, I have a couple of values, but the two ones that always are top of mind for me: I want to build a strong, healthy family, and I want a reputable, honest business that provides my family with security, that helps a community of people, right? So those two big things for me all the time. So all of my 2020 goals, I have to ask myself the question: do they connect to my values and my purpose? If they don't, then they're not priorities. So let's say for the person that has to make 100 phone calls, right? There's probably a lot of things that stem from those 100 phone calls. You have sales appointments maybe you have to make. You have follow-up calls. I'm sure you have a goal, and it all starts with 100 phone calls. So that's going to be your absolute priority, and then you're going to break it down. Do those phone calls have to be per day? So if they have to be per day, then I would actually block off 3 hours of priority time and go 50 minutes making phone calls, take a 10-minute break, 50 minutes phone calls, 10-minute break, 50 minutes of phone calls, and then another 10-minute break. 3-hour block done, take a breath, go handle, go clean your office at that point, right? You're gonna take this time, because cleaning office, probably not a priority, right? It's gonna be lower on the list. So, not a big deal. Now, if the same person has to hire a bookkeeper and also make 100 calls, right? So now we have to balance two incredibly important tasks. Both are probably priorities. So as we're looking at this, which one is more important, which one can give you more time over time, that's going to be hiring the bookkeeper. So we have to do payroll. Payroll's a to-do list item. It's important, has to get done, but it's a to-do list item. Payroll is not going to get you to that great place in your life. Like, nobody's gonna, when you pass away, or when you reach the end and they're doing your eulogy, nobody's gonna say, "Man, that person did payroll. God, they can cut a check." Nobody's gonna say that. Same thing with laundry, right? Laundry's on there. Laundry, not a priority. Not a priority. those things get fit into other time. For me, I do payroll, right? My payroll is like end of the day. Now, I don't know how big your payroll is. Mine's obviously fairly small right now. But my payroll is end of the day. Like that, like when my brain is fried and I have no more time to think critically about anything, I do the mind-numbing payroll work, right? Now, if you are the payroll person, then that's your job, probably higher on the priority list. If you're the business owner doing payroll as a role of your business, or it's just a kind of a side thing, then it's not going to be a priority. Online course, probably a big priority. Again, that has to be broken down into milestones though, right? So here we go. So this same person has 100 calls they want to make. They have to do an online course. They have to hire a bookkeeper, and payroll is going to be to-do. Dinner is to-do list. Laundry is to-do list. They have to travel. That's probably not a priority, but it's just one of those things that you have to work your priorities around, right? Painting for a customer, probably a priority. I'm assuming that painting is something you love. You're doing it for a customer, so this is going to have to be a priority. And the way you work that one out, if you're having a hard time getting the motivation to do it, is they say, how do you write a book? You just sit down every day and write. And that's the same way you approach the painting. Put yourself in a great space, and you just start painting. And whatever happens, happens. Kind of the way I'm approaching these videos and podcasts, right? Like whatever happens, happens. The video that I do today is not going to be the video that I do a year from now. My video a year from now, even a week from now, is going to be completely different because I'm going to learn things today that I'm going to improve. But we have to get started. Like we have to get moving. We can't sit and think about it. So you got to schedule this in, block that in, and commit to doing it. Now, we have 100 calls, hire a bookkeeper, and online course. Now, online course is going to pay for itself a lot over time. Really important. The 100 calls, that's how we get more sales, get more people. We have to do that. Really important. Hiring the bookkeeper, when looking at these three things, hiring the bookkeeper will give you more time to do everything else. Because if you're currently doing the bookkeeping, or if you don't have anybody to do the bookkeeping, and the bookkeeping's, your financials are flying off the rails, that's a big deal. That's a calamitous event that will steal a ton of time from us that we need to make sure it doesn't happen. So whether you don't have a bookkeeper or you need to get rid of the bookkeeper you currently have, this one right here, if you get that bookkeeper out of the way, it dynamically improves how much time you have available to create an online course and make 100 phone calls, right? And then when you get this one out of the way, so I would say, given if you have to do all three of these things, I would say this bookkeeper task needs to be like step one. Put out the job description or research, CPAs and find ones that offer bookkeeping, bookkeeping services, or offload that part of it to somebody else and let them get the list of 10 names, and then you go through those and figure out which ones you want to contact first. Make those appointments. Once those appointments are done, then you can pivot and get into these, right? And you can do your 100 phone calls, and then you could do some parts of your online course. But when you're looking at these three really important things, you have to say which one is going to dynamically change where my energy and attention goes. That is bookkeeper, right? On our example, that was fulfillment hire and help desk hire. So if we have those two people, right, the people that do customer service and downstairs fulfillment, if we get that fulfillment person, as soon as we do that, my wife Lynn moves into developing product, right? And we get her into expanding the business rather than just maintaining it. So that's a dynamic change in how we can do things. So that has to be top on our list to find that fulfillment person. So that's how you want to handle those. So visit stores. I'm not sure if that's like visit stores because I just want to spend money, or visit stores because we're actually going to make sure the stores are handling themselves properly. That one, it would just kind of depend if it's a priority or not. That actually might be a to-do list item because if it's just part of your job, maybe that gets listed. If you're looking at Define My Day, we would probably just list that, visit 5 stores today, maybe even list the 5 stores you want to visit. And that's just like a daily, like little thing we jot on the side of the page. Because it's, I'm just making an assumption here. I don't know exactly your situation, but, I think for me, visit stores, just part of the job, going to get done no matter what. That's okay. The priority for me, in these situations, like when I have something like that come up, my priority, for me is, doing a video like this, sending out the email for this video. So here, podcast is priority number 1. And then I have send out email, do the video, and then it's upload, to all the different services, right? YouTube and the podcast software. Over here might be, visit vendors, visit stores, all this stuff. It's going to get done, but my life changes. This company changes when I do priority number 1. Visiting stores, it's just part of the job, right? And for me, just part of the job might be, checking the inventory periodically, inputting QuickBooks, all that stuff. All incredibly important, but doesn't quite matter when it gets done, and it certainly doesn't need to be done first. So when we're listing all of this stuff, we always want to keep in mind, the thing that, like, we get in the habit of doing the easy things first, and we get in the habit of doing the to-do list items first. Like, going back to mine, there are things on here that we can do that make us feel like we're doing work, but it's not really important stuff that drives us forward or drives our company forward or our small business forward. We need to do the big things that change our lives. Laundry is not going to be a big thing that changes our lives. Now, we don't want to go around naked, right? We can't, right? It would really ruin our lives. But, we can't do laundry instead of making those 100 phone calls, right? So in the hierarchy of things, let's just say laundry is really important. It's on our to-do list and we need to get it done today. Get those 100 phone calls done, and then know that you have to move on to laundry, and don't let yourself get engaged in distractions, whether it's your phone, email, and all of the other stuff. And so those are things, even these things are higher up. Other things on here could be email, like all the things that you touch every day, phone calls, I don't know, some other really small things that we do every day. Email for me was a big one that I needed to tame. The inbox zero guy says that that's impossible now. Even he said that was a mistake. So let's say email for me. I check my email like 3 times a day now. I really fight looking at it on my phone, but as far as sitting at my desk and looking at Outlook, I won't even open it. It is closed. I don't want that distraction popping up. When I am in my focused mode, when I am focusing on making those 100 phone calls, I am not thinking about anything else. I don't want an email popping up in front of me. I don't want my phone to ring from somebody else. It's on Do Not Disturb. I am dialing. Dialing for dollars is what you guys say, right? I'm just dialing, and that is it. 0 distractions. Nobody's walking into my office. Nothing. This is priority time. I'm focused on this, right? When you're doing your painting, same thing. Maybe you need to have music playing. Maybe you need to be in a good environment. Maybe people need to leave you alone. Maybe you need to put your phone out of the room. That is time for you to paint. That's what that time is defined as. So from 9 to 11 in the morning, we are painting, and that is it. No excuses, not doing anything else. When you're doing your laundry, you can watch TV. You can maybe eat dinner. Like, throw a load of laundry in, eat dinner, come back, put it in the dryer, and then at the end of the night, when you just don't want to do anything else, you throw your headphones on and listen to a good podcast and fold your laundry, right? Dishes are my big one. Dishes every day. I got to do my dishes every day. That's the end of the day. I put a podcast on, maybe even a TV show on the iPad on the windowsill, and I go ahead and do my dishes. But I will tell you what, just like what happened last night, I was up here until 11 o'clock last night doing what I needed to do to get all of this stuff ready for today. Those dishes were stacked high this morning when we woke up. Because at 11 o'clock, I needed to get to bed. That was one of my habits. I need to get to bed on time. So dishes didn't matter. And we need to be okay with letting that go. If it doesn't matter, if it's just something that just it won't matter if it's unimportant, but we have big things we need to work on. We just need to do the big things, right? So I hope this is clear. I'm going to come over and check out the comments and see if anybody has any questions about what I talked about. Let's get into it. All right, so I'm going to check out these comments and find my notes from before, because I know I wrote down some things to come back to people. Did that make sense to everybody? Did that give you some clarity? So basically, what we're trying to do with that is, you want to just spitball everything you have to do, and you're trying to sort it in an order that makes sense to you. And again, you want to look at importance, and you want to look at how timely it needs to be. So if there's something that can wait until next month, certainly let it wait, right? Like my financials need to get done because other things hinge on those financials. So we need to get those done. Hiring somebody like the bookkeeper, other things hinge on that, and it opens up more time to do other things. So that's very important, should get done ASAP. Where's my notes? Jackie, let's go back to your question, Jackie. Not if I can find you. You guys wrote too many comments. Jackie, thank you much for starting these live posts. This is going to be so helpful. I just recently started a new health mode. Do you have any tips or tricks from transitioning from one journal to the next? Do you keep the flow going or make adjustments? It depends. So for me, each journal, I sometimes transfer things from one journal to the next, especially if there's a big goal that is, needs to be broken up over a couple of months. I can transition that. What we have been doing, like a lot of people write notes in their journal that they want to be able to transfer from one to the next. A lot of people can use the Microsoft Office Lens app and take a photo and PDF it and keep it for later. We just started, I don't have any here right now. We just started carrying these adhesive pockets. And what I do actually is I rip out the pages and put them in the pocket on the inside cover of the journal, and I can carry around those pages. But it's up to you how you transition through it. It can, it's you just sort of have to kind of evaluate and ask yourself questions. It's a continuous process. There's a little bit of growth, but from month to month, you might not even notice it. You just have to, kind of go through it and see what happens. All right, let me get back down to where I was. Work is all consuming. Just write something every day to make it a habit and you'll improve over time. Yep, absolutely. Sort laundry. A lot of that stuff, we talked about, the things being so big and they kind of, perfection, right? A lot of that stuff with, like sorting laundry, we let it pile up too high. And we need to just allow ourselves to, in the gaps of our day, like a lot of people have that feeling that, once you start it, you should finish it. And I feel that way about doing dishes because I know if I don't, then I won't, right? And I just made it a habit to do it. But it doesn't take a whole lot of time. But for things like laundry, I look at that like any little bit that I can do in the gaps helps. So when I have 5 minutes of just sitting here, I'll throw on the headphones and run downstairs, throw it from the washing machine to the dryer, and then that'll be kind of like my decompression time in between priorities. Household budget. So that actually would be a very big priority on the list, right? Because everything flows from that. That's a highly impactful priority. So household budget, the time when you can do it, whether you can do it during the day or you have to do it in the evening with your spouse, I don't know. But if you're going to do a household budget, that's one I would definitely bring to the front of the list. Direct a road running race on Sunday. It's funny that in itself, I would not. So direct a road running race on Sunday. That in itself might not be a priority for me, right? Because you have to do it no matter what. It's more of an obligation. My priority on Sunday, my priorities would probably be, take care of myself beforehand because it's going to be tiring, right? So if you're directing it, you want to make sure that you properly take care of yourself. Have water, eat properly before leaving. So self-care would be a priority. Priority number 2 for me on Sunday might be mindset. So whatever you want to bring to that, energy, enthusiasm, openness. I don't know if you're there if you have to bring on like impress sponsors or whatever your mindset needs to be for that day, that would be a priority for me. And then like priority number 3, I don't know what else is involved in that, but priority number 3 for me might be decompress. Like exhale, let it all go when it's over. Like no matter what happens, be satisfied. Like mindset, it would be more mindset and self-care for me on that one. 3 months of scrapbooking, yeah. And that depends, Sharon, that depends on how important that is to you. If that is a priority and you want to get that done and it's going to make you feel better, maybe that's a late night priority. Maybe that's something that you set up, some music and you have a glass of wine and you just use that as a decompression. And that can be a priority like, enjoy time, decompressing. It's all in how you perceive it. Senior Volunteers of the Year. So writing, like Suzanne, writing 3 nominations for Senior Volunteers of the Year, want to do right for these people. That would be all part of it, right? So the priority maybe on the day that it needs to be done. This wouldn't be like an overall priority for you, but it could be a work priority for the day. And when you're doing that, your mindset, want to do right for these people, your mindset might be the tasks, how you want to evaluate those people. There's a lot of other really good examples. I'm going to skip ahead though, because we'll be here all day if I read them all. Year-end filing, cooking laundry. Yep. Day 4, trying to get in the groove, different than other planners I've used. Liking it so far. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we're trying to keep it so it's like quick in and out. You can use it and get off and running. So struggling to make a reasonable list each day. I find I'm carrying over tasks every day. Alicia, I hear you. So if you're doing that, if you're writing down the same thing every day, that's when you really want to explore why. Why is it that that's happening? Is it that it's not important enough and that you're just kind of pushing it off and other things are gaining importance over them? Or is it because you're allowing less important things to get in the way? Are you maybe creatively distracting yourself, like creatively procrastinating? I've done that myself. No judgment here, but it happens, right? We get in that habit of letting busy work seem more important than the things we really want to do. But I think the one thing we need to be aware of is maybe those things aren't really that important. Maybe it's that, we're writing them down because we feel like we should, but to us, they're really not that important. Maybe it's important to somebody else. And we really need to think about, is this really important to me? And that's the importance of the journaling, right? And why couldn't I get to this? How do I feel about it? What is going to get me moving toward it if I really want to? And a lot of times it's just knowing that first step. So, again, I always bring this back to fitness because it's one of my struggle areas, right? So for me, I don't necessarily say I'm going to work out tomorrow. I'm going to say I'm going to put on my shoes and my workout gear and I'm going to drive to the gym. And then what happens after that happens, right? So write down the first step. So your first commitment tomorrow is the first step, the very first thing you have to do in that priority. And then see where it goes from there. Keeping up with studies, volunteer work, videos, good for you, good. So Denise says, if I see the same thing pop up on my to-do list, it is clear indication that it's not that important or I just don't want to do it. Yes, same thing for me. Then I have to take a closer look at it and decide if it's something that to be done no matter how boring or irritating or just dumped off the list. Same thing. Like you got those things that you just don't want to do, right? You don't want to do it. You don't it just sucks your energy when you do it. And a lot of times that's where that question comes in. If I just never do it, and if I allow myself to forget about it, will it ever really matter? The guy that I suggested we listen to, Pat, that would be Brendan Burchard. I have an Excel spreadsheet for myself and be glad to share. Already shared a meal plan. So Linda has an Excel spreadsheet. If you want to, don't share your email addresses in the comments here. Private message Linda your email address if you're going to send her that. Denise says, if I see the same thing, oh, it's coming up again. It keeps coming up, Denise. I don't know why. You're lost. You get so distracted. Mindfulness, if you're the type of person that is easily distracted, and I can be that way too, right? Get me on TikTok for 10 minutes and I'll be there for an hour. And I was a lot worse years ago, where I literally thought I had ADD, and maybe I did, but I actually think I just had a bad habit of not focusing on one thing. And so we want to try to grow that focus muscle. And so if 10 minutes of focus is a struggle for you, I would try for 10. And then once you can reach 10, go for 11. And whatever you have to focus on, right? If it's just putting your head down and doing work at your desk, put a timer, like a Pomodoro timer or something. And just say, for 10 minutes, I'm going to do what I need to do. And then I'm going to take a breather. And I'm going to give myself a break. And then when I have the opportunity, I'm going to come back and do it again. But you want to focus. You want to give yourself, that goal of focusing for that amount of time, and then give yourself the break and allow yourself to take a break. Now, as far as shiny objects and something else popping up, and you're like, oh, we have a kid like that, right? It happens, and it's just a matter of really taking the time to be present and focus, and it's a practice thing. For me, meditation has helped me a lot. 2 minutes of meditation for me 4 years ago, was miserable. It was absolute torture to do any type of meditation for me. I'm up to 20 minutes a day now. And, I still struggle. It still can be hard. Today was exceptionally hard. But, it's that practice of doing it. And the benefits of meditation, they prove it in brain scans. Within 2 weeks, you start growing gray matter. It's ridiculous how beneficial meditation is. If I'm going to tell anybody 2 things that they can do to help develop focus, it's number 1, start meditating. Use the Headspace app. It's free for a couple of their things, or you can use the Calm app on the iPhone. Start meditating and develop that focus that way. But then number 2 is decide on one thing you can focus on for a very short amount of time, and push each day how long you can focus on that. And then when you find yourself getting distracted, it's why we write down on Define My Day during the week here. We write, come on, I keep opening up to the weekly pages. Today I will avoid, right? Today I will avoid right here. That's a lot of times distractions. It's, if my phone keeps dinging and pulls me away, or notifications and stuff, number 1, turn those off so they stop doing that, because even subconsciously it's pulling you away, and you get in the habit of always needing that dopamine drip, right? So, you want to try to say, I will avoid looking at my phone between the hours of, or looking at my phone. I will only look at my phone whenever. But it's all almost like hacking yourself. You're trying to figure out what's pulling you off in a way to grow that focus muscle. Strava has pinpointed January 19th, 2020 as Quitter's Day, the day most New Year's resolutions, particularly those around fitness, are abandoned. I'm grateful for the Define My Day journals because they have helped me to be more aware of what I want to accomplish and not how to become overwhelmed with the process. Also, focusing on various goals and priorities I can achieve. Carla, I'm gonna take that. If you don't mind, I'm gonna use that. That's a great testimonial. Thank you. And I never would have thought the 19th was Quitter's Day. That's really early. Man, people don't even get it at 2. That's not even 3 weeks. 21 days to make a habit, which isn't really true, but God, they're not even giving it that long. That's really hard to believe. It's a little sad, actually. If you don't work, you still work. You just don't get paid. Yeah, Sharon, I agree. If you don't work, you still work. You just don't get paid. I agree. Look, and the way I look at it is we're going to live this life no matter what, right? Until it's over. We should make the best of it for ourselves. That's kind of like a play off of that same thing. Finishing the AI chatbot project that I'm building by end of January. Boo! AI chatbots. I tried that. Didn't do very well. Not for me, anyway. I didn't do well with it. Daughter's wedding is in August. Can use the organization and focus I can get. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of steps in that process. And being focused and having the right timeline is very important there. Recertification, work on resume, declutter. Task for the week, explore UX, UI design. Man, we've got a lot of smart people in this group right now. Contemplating a career change, want a remote working option so I can travel and work. Good for you. I hope I'm still eligible to win. Have to drop off and work. You're still eligible. But if you do win, you have to comment or send me a message with your address and what colors you want. I just copied your statement word for word into my what I want to think list. Remote working options so I can travel and work. That is really what I want. Now I have to identify why I can't seem to leave my employer 25 years to make this my life. It's tough, man. 25 years is a long time. That's a tough change to make. You got to work on the confidence to do it and make sure you have a good plan of action. You don't want to just get up and leave with no plan. You want to make sure you have the right steps in place. So if I'm understanding correctly, Yvonne says, jot everything down and then go by what needs to be done this month versus 2 months from now. So what we're actually doing, we're trying to decide a sense of urgency with what needs to be done, right? So there's certain things that we can safely punt to a later time. And once you decide that it's not a priority right now, it's out of your mind. And the mind can release it and let it go until it comes back up. So, by looking at that, saying like, we're not going to look at a new vendor until April. I never, anytime anything crosses my desk about a new vendor, we can safely discard it until April 1st, right? So that just takes it off of my plate. And then what's left over, we're then going to prioritize those things to try to figure out what we really want to accomplish and figure out what we want to punt or maybe even never do. Like the application. Like for us, looking at that whole list of things, coming up with an app would just be overwhelming for us right now. And as tempting as it is, every time somebody calls us or whatever, as tempting as it is, we can't even think about it. And when you write it down in that big list of stuff, then it's just, we know, just not even reasonable, no reason to even think about it. Yeah, app development, when you cover so many platforms, absolutely. Put that off until you have time to be involved. Absolutely. Exploring a few things so that I can determine what cross-training or new training I need to invest in to make a switch. Good for you. Declutter the house. I like that you're identified for each to-do item, the percent of involvement in each one. So that the next step is to prioritize the items for actionable next steps. Right. So Ellen's saying, identified for each to-do list item, the percent of your involvement in each one. So you're actually saying there, right. So we're trying to figure out these are the things that I don't want at all. And these other things that just need to be touched. And then the other things that I need to be fully involved in. There's a lot more nuance in there and it's hard to delineate, but I thank you for that. Maureen, I understand exploring a few options. Okay, you're responding to somebody there. I can't see which ones of these are responses because of the way it shows up on my screen here. So, yeah, the difference, Jason, the difference between a priority and a to-do list item. Priorities are those things that just pull you into that future self, right? So going back to the sense of purpose, when you're at the end, right? And you know it's coming, and you look back on your life, what are the things that you really, really are grateful for experiencing and doing, and what are the things you would have regretted not doing? And when you look at that and align your priorities with that, the other things, the to-do list stuff is just it's just a lot of that stuff just doesn't matter. And even if it does matter as far as keeping our lives in order, we can't put those in front of the big things. We really need to focus on what is big. And even if we can only give them a little bit of time each day, the more we focus on them, the more we gravitate toward them, and they become a bigger part of our day. So there's a woman that I won't mention her name, but her big goal is her priority is cleaning up her house, right? So she works professionally full time, but her priority that she's decided is that she needs to get her house in order. So she only gives it 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes is her priority time because she has a lot of other things going on. But that priority time has made it so that over the past year, or I think even like 6 months, she has cleaned 2 entire levels of her house. 15 minutes a day is an hour every 4 days. And that compounds and grows. And I mean, it doesn't compound, it grows. It adds up. And when you do that, you get much further. Now, if she never would have made that a priority and just something that like kind of gets done every so often, she wouldn't have made nearly that progress. Yvonne says, basically you're saying to break it down to do what is a to-do list item and what is a priority. So it's our to-do list more of a weekly one versus a daily one. So this is how we've broken it down and defined my day. So we have like a to-do list at the beginning of each week. And then we also have a small little list on each day where I usually use that as like a daily to-do list or kind of like as things come up, I jot them down, right? And what I do, the way I handle it is if anything there gets carried over to the next day more than once, I put it on the weekly to-do list. That weekly to-do list is intentionally there every week because I am trying to make it so that I avoid transferring anything from that to-do list to the next week. I don't want to have to write down 20 things every week over and over again. So in order to discourage myself from doing that, I put that to-do list every week. So I have to rewrite that every week. Now, if I stop rewriting it and none of those things come back, then they were certainly to-do list items and were not important enough for me to even bother with. And I can tell you, every book I have a to-do list, and I have half of those things on that to-do list that never get done, and they're just gone. They're gone. And I'll never see them again unless I go back through a book. And maybe they'll pop up again. Maybe it'll turn into a priority. That'll be okay. But, not a big deal. The priorities are the big things that move us forward. Paulette, you needed to hear this today. I'm glad you heard it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, so which one is going to dynamically change where my energy is going to go? That's it, right? You gotta figure out like what's really going to take you in the direction you want to go. Brandy, thank you for joining. Sorry you're late. That's okay. You know what? You can watch the replay here on Facebook. You can watch it on YouTube. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. It's so easy to get stuck just keeping up and not moving forward, especially when you work from home. This is something I've seen a couple of times now in the past couple of weeks. So people feel like they're stuck in a rut because they're writing the same thing every day. They're accomplishing it every day, but they're just writing the same thing every day. Maybe those things that happen every day can just be turned into a discipline, right? So if you do the same thing every day, we can maybe make that a habit and a discipline on this page right here. And you can write it in right there. And, every day you just check it off whenever you do it, right? But the priority, those things that are really going to move you forward, they can be really small. You can spend a little bit of time there. Maybe you grow that time over time. It could be wellness. It could be how you want your mindset to be through the day. But the priority should be like the direction you want to go. If your value is that, you want to give back to your community, maybe your priority is only a 5-minute phone call to a charity or a volunteer opportunity. The priority doesn't need to be time consuming. It just needs to be really important for you. Awesome prioritizing. Thank you, Kathy. I'm glad you liked it. Actually, because of the business you're in, I figured in like the team you work in, I figured maybe that might be translatable for you. All right, good. Yes. I think that's when I asked, did it work for you? Hopefully it did. That's how far behind I am in the comments. I'm making my way through here, guys. Sorry. Yeah, Belinda, you're really good at your to-do list. I was really good at my to-do list too. I had Wunderlist. And Wunderlist actually lets you create to-do lists for your to-do list. It's crazy. It's an application. It synchronizes over across all your phones and devices and computers. I had so many to-do list items in Wunderlist. It was ridiculous. and none of them it gives it no priority. Like there's no priority way to sort it. It was crazy, and it got to be the point I was never even looking at it anymore. I was so scared and intimidated by it. I have not logged into that platform in years, and I guarantee if I go back and look at it, I probably haven't done anything that's in my Wunderlist account, and I'm living a better life than I ever did when I was using it. So you have to look at like what's a priority and where you're putting your time. I get so overwhelmed. Kim says, I get so overwhelmed. I use the planner a few days in advance to help relieve the pressure. Knowing I have a plan and it will get done helps all the flying monkeys. Yeah, right? And I do that too. Like if I know my milestones are pretty well defined for the beginning of the week, I will predefine my priorities. And so that goes back to the question about how you use this one page where it's before the milestones. It has the week above it, and then like day 1, day 2, day 3, or in this case, day 22, day 23. A lot of people do use that page for different things. A lot of people use that page for planning out meals. I used it for a while to track calories. Other people pre-plan their priorities. So they know that day 22, my priority is this, this, and this. Day 23, my priority is only this. And then they can kind of move them around if they need to, especially if you're using our erasable pens. But I will go ahead and pre-plan my priorities for the week. And then I will also schedule them on my Outlook calendar so I have them there. Decompression time to fit in the small tasks makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. Yeah, I try to do all the like low priority stuff in the gaps. Try to like laundry and all the stuff we've talked about, making the kids' beds or picking up around the house. I try to just make it like throw on the headphones, learn something while I'm doing it, like an podcast, and then just go off and do things. When I find the rollover task trending, I move it out 2 weeks versus the next day, and it helps relieve me of the pressure. And if it still doesn't get done, it's not a priority. Tracy, that's a very good technique. So what Tracy's saying, I'm going to repeat it real quick. If something keeps rolling, she puts it out 2 weeks to get it out of her mind. And then if it doesn't, like if it comes back and it still doesn't get done by that point in time, then it's just not a big deal. And you can keep pushing it off forever and away. My kids are home. The bus got home. So if you hear any noise, that's my kids. Tiny steps. Got to break it down into tiny steps. Barb, been trying to get back into journaling, and I like your idea of really focusing on what my priorities are. Good. Awesome. Squirrel. I know all about the squirrel. Insight Timer is a great free meditation app. Awesome. Scheduling 90-minute focus sessions with 10-minute break in between. Awesome. Awesome. All right. I know you guys got to go. I'm going to go ahead and get the winner of this because I want to wrap this up. I know we went a lot longer than I anticipated. I might have to start scheduling this for an hour and a half. I don't think so, but we'll see. That was actually, all the demonstration and everything takes a lot of time. And you guys had a lot of comments because I know you guys want to win. I know you want to win. All right. It used to be a legal pad filled every day. Not anymore. Great nuggets or to have an aha moment every time I listen to you. Awesome, Helen. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Carly, you want to share with your Weight Watchers members? That's awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Deborah, you're welcome also. Any comments I didn't get to read live, I will go back and comment on them. I appreciate every one of you guys and ladies that came in here and commented. And this was an awesome discussion. I appreciate this. But let's get down to it. Who won Define My Year, right? Who won the 13 planners? I'm going to pick a name right now randomly. I'm going to look up here, close my eyes, and scroll around and land on one. And where did we go? Jackie Dillenbeck. That's awesome, actually. That's the question. That's the one question I put off till later, right? Jackie, that's awesome. So you won the 13 Define My Day planners, the Define My Year. Please private message me with the colors you want. You can have all one color. You can have any mix of colors that we have. And I will build a custom order for you, a free order, and get that emailed to you. So give me the colors you want, your email address, And then when you complete the order, it'll be free. When you complete the order, you can add your address where you want it shipped to and all of that. So congratulations, Jackie. I'd appreciate you contributing, and I appreciate your question. That's awesome. So very cool. Everybody, I'm going to be doing these videos at 3 o'clock every Thursday. They will be uploaded to YouTube afterward. You can listen to them on all the major podcast apps. After that, we're also going to be uploading a new pre-recorded video to YouTube once a week and putting them on the podcast apps also. So I appreciate all of your support. I love all the work that everybody's doing. If you are a Define My Day user, get in the user group. Make sure you're in there asking questions and helping other people that need your support. That community is just getting better by the day. I am the most proud of that community. If you are not a user, why not? Let's get into this. Let's get it. Let's get moving forward, right? Define your day to define your life. Let's go. All right. I'm all pumped up now. I got to go take a nap. I'll see you guys next week. I thank you for joining me. Congratulations, Jackie. Take care, everybody. Be well.